lads, give your heart and soul. Run lads, shoot lads, give us all a go. Run lads, shoot lads, you can do it yet. Come on Newport County, oh, bang it in the net.
Hello everybody and welcome to Taff's Word on Football. Today's episode is going to be based around financial doping, and the reason I want to dedicate a video entirely to this subject is the fact I've been arguing over social media with a lot of people about the way Man City have been going, and obviously the Premier League charges that they got now. There's some fans of some smaller clubs that believe FFP is only there to protect the big six and to keep them where they are, which I think is the biggest load of bollocks I've ever heard in my life. Now, a lot of their point is around, you know, the wealth that some of the big six have. Now, if you've got a big stadium, you're going to bring in big crowds, you're going to make more money. If you've got a big following, fan base, if you're historically successful, you're going to have a bigger commercial reach. So you're going to have the ability to make more money on the back of your sporting achievements. Now, football, yes, is a business. Business owners should be able to inject money into their business. But football is a sport first and foremost, and there's rules to owning a football club. And financial fair play is there to prevent clubs from injecting an advantage over the rest of the playing field. Now, individual sports like in the Olympics, let's just say track and field, you know, you got a runner who isn't as good as the rest. So, you know, we got like the Usain Bolts of the world. You know, you got your average runner is not going to beat Usain Bolt. Like historically, it was always going to be difficult to beat the likes of Liverpool, Arsenal and Manchester United. But people were able to do it. People were able to do it if they had a better day than them. Now, if somebody had a better run, had a better start at the beginning of a race, then there's a chance they may nip in front of one of those so-called better runners. But it's obviously a rare occurrence. A sport for you. Some people are better than other people. Liverpool, Manchester United, Arsenal are bigger clubs than the others because of their historic success and the fact that they can commercialise that. But the fact is, every club in the Premier League has access to the same TV money as everybody else. Everyone gets the same TV money. Whatever everybody else makes as commercial income, season tickets, stadium, obviously filling out their stadium every week. You know, there's a lot of other ways of making money in football, but, you know, these bigger clubs know how to make the money, you know, because they got a bit of extra money. They can employ the people to make them even more. Now, when I was making the point about individual sports, so if you're in like the final of the Olympics 100-meter sprint and you're up against Usain Bolt, you're more than likely going to lose. But you use performance-enhancing drugs, that's going to give you that little bit extra. You may just nip in front of him, which is why that is illegal. It gives you an advantage over the playing field. It's designed, you know, anti-doping laws are designed to keep it fair. Now, hard work pays off. You know, if you're better because you work harder, then that's different. If you're better because you inject something into you, that's an unfair advantage. Tell me now, what is the difference between that and injecting money that nobody else has got access to into a football club purely to build the playing staff to being better than everybody else? What is the difference? I mean, yeah, you've got to spend that money wisely. You know, it's like, oh, having that money doesn't mean you're guaranteed success. Injecting yourself with shit doesn't mean you're guaranteed success either. The whole point of FFP is to prevent rich owners from ploughing money into a football club to give them advantage over everybody else. And that is my point about Man City. Man City have skirted these FFP laws for a long time, and 115 Premier League charges later, they're finally, you know, the chickens are coming home to roost. Now, Newcastle are on the verge of doing it, but at the moment, Newcastle haven't done it in the way people expected them to. Now, if they spend money by their own means, which so far from what they've spent is not a lot different to a lot of other Premier League clubs. If they spend within their means, then fine. And they've had a great season on the back of spending within their means, not going out and getting a big manager. They went out and got Eddie Howe, someone with potential, and that's worked out well for them. So Newcastle, completely different kettle of fish. Chelsea were guilty of it back in the day. I suppose you could say Chelsea were a bit more advanced than what Man City were. Man City were taken over when they were mid-table fodder, and hundreds upon hundreds of millions have been spent, consistently through the years to give them the advantage that they've needed, and they've won titles and trophies on the back of it, which they probably wouldn't have won if they didn't get that financial income. That injection of finances has allowed them to climb through all the other clubs. Now, you look at Leicester. Leicester are a club that managed to win the league without all that. We're basically talking about a club that had a really good scouting network, really good coach, and really good backroom staff. They signed Riyad Mahrez, Jamie Vardy, they signed N'Golo Kante, and then the rest of the team that they had there gelled well around them. Kasper Schmeichel was a quality goalkeeper, and they won the league on the... Well, the thing is, you can't win a league over 38 games by surprise. You can't just take the league by surprise. They maintained their level of performance throughout the season. Brighton are an example of someone who have the potential to do that again. Now, you're talking about these smaller clubs. The moment a small club injects money and then becomes what Man City have become, who are just dominating English football and making, from my opinion, making the whole thing boring regarding the run for the Premier League title. Because as much as Arsenal come close this year, Liverpool come close, Man City still go and do it. Man City are probably going to go and win the Champions League. As far as I'm concerned, they should always, for every achievement from 2008 until the point Man City are brought down to earth, hopefully, no slap on the wrist, no fine. We're talking about, if you really want to stamp this out, you've really, really got to go to town on them and do something that's going to destabilise the current method they use to get their success, which is basically cheating. In the laws of the game, it is cheating. FFP, there's individual FFP rules. Obviously, there's a different one for UEFA than what there is for Premier League. They've broken both. Now, people can say, oh yeah, but they were found innocent. No. They managed to get the case dismissed. It wasn't that it was brought to any kind of verdict. They managed to pick the holes in UEFA's case and had the whole thing dismissed. And UEFA couldn't pick it back up. They didn't get found innocent. With the Premier League, there's 115 charges, and they're stalling. They're using that money to pay big hotshot lawyers to come in and stall the whole proceeding and prevent the Premier League from actually doing anything. And where they are during that, they're just mopping up more and more trophies. Now, I always used to like Man City because for those of you who know, other than what county I like Liverpool, and people can say the bitterness stems from that. The fact that Liverpool have had the best team they've had since the late 80s, and Man City's dominance has prevented Liverpool from winning titles that they could have won. I mean, yeah, they got one. That was nice. They got a Champions League and won, a load of other trophies as well under Klopp. But the fact is, if Man City had made their way there through natural means, I'd be one of the first people congratulating them, because what a fantastic team they have got there. You can't take anything away from the players. You can't take anything away from Guardiola, because at the end of the day, they're being paid their money. The players they got there were bought and paid for from other clubs, and as far as they're concerned, they're a team like anybody else. You can't take it away from the individual players that are there and the management that are there. What it is the hierarchy of the club and the way that it's been run. Now, it's a shame for those players, because on the back of this, there will always be an asterisk against Man City, because they've cheated to get to where they are. And I mean, people are saying, other clubs spend money. but they spend within their means. I mean, they say Liverpool have spent just as much money as Man City. Well, no, they haven't. You know, it's a very, very lazy, loose comment that a lot of people try to make. You know, or Man United, all the other clubs, they spend just as much as City. Well, they don't. Now, Man United have spent a lot of money, but they've also recouped a lot of money. City may have started recouping money, but the fact is they always go out and spend. And that they say, oh, what a bargain, Erling Haaland, only 61 million. Yeah, but the problem is with Erling Haaland, is, yeah, his release clause was 61 million, but his signing on fee, his agent's fee and his wages take that to double that and then more. So, yeah, it wasn't 61 million that Man City paid for. So how many agent fees do you think have been forked out for, you know, wages, you know, to keep these players there? I mean, they've got 2 to 3 players for each position that is more or less world class. And they've been able to go out and buy those players. Now, you tend to find that the ones who call them out are the ones who don't have a hatred for any of the other clubs that are up there trying to challenge them. So a lot of people hate Liverpool, so they support Man City because they want to see them topping Liverpool. A lot of people don't like Man United. They want to see Man City above Man United. A lot of people don't like Arsenal. They want to see Man City above Arsenal and Tottenham and Chelsea. So all these people who hate these other clubs challenging Man City are going to support them because they want them above them. And the one big fan base that are supporting Man City, funnily enough, other than Chelsea because they've done it in the past themselves, and Newcastle because they know full well that they will be doing it. Well, hopefully, if Man City get punished well enough for what they're doing now, that will deter anybody else from doing it. Paris Saint-Germain, the French football authorities need to really come down on them too because they've done it. You know, I mean, you look at the likes of Real Madrid and Barcelona, they spend money, but they spend within their means because they're massive clubs. They bring the money in on the back of, you know, fair gain. And that's what I'm trying to put across. Some clubs are capable of bringing in more money through fair gain. Now, the people who say FFP is there to protect the big six, to stop, you know, smaller clubs from, you know, being taken over by billionaires and being financed to go and challenge them. Well, the problem you got there is every single club had to have been at a particular level to get there. Man United were not always a big club. Liverpool were relegated themselves and had to come back up. Arsenal have always been sort of there or thereabouts, but, you know, you can't just put them above everybody. I mean, you know, the likes of Leeds and Sunderland and Derby, you know, have won league titles in the past. Preston North End and Huddersfield are you know, English champions, and Huddersfield only just escaped relegation down to the next tier, you know, League One. So see the point that I'm trying to make here. You know, somebody, you know, these bigger clubs have got to come from somewhere. If Leicester and Southampton weren't so badly run over the last few years, they would have had the potential to get there. You know, scouting good players and selling them on and making a lot of money, it puts a lot of money in your coffers, but it depends on kind of owners you got. Liverpool, their owners want to make a profit. You know, their owners don't want to sink money in just for fun to just get some success because they have the wealth to do so. They're a sports group, they're a business, they need to make money. They make money at Liverpool, but they run the club very well. Man City, Sheikh Mansour and his band of bandits, they just plough the money into the football club because they just want to see it succeed. Now, you can't fault the ideals behind that, but the fact is, you know, it gives them an advantage over everybody else. It gives them an advantage. They've got that wealth and nobody else has access to that wealth. No other football club has what you call wealth. They have a higher income than other clubs, but it doesn't mean that, you know, it doesn't mean that they're always going to be up the top. I mean, look at Chelsea this season. Chelsea have spent 600 million. Yes, you've got to spend the money wisely, but if it's there, it makes life a lot easier. When you've got a manager like Pep Guardiola, it makes life a lot easier. When you've got, like, when you're able to pay the best scouting network in the world, it makes life a lot easier for you. So it's money that no one else has access to. So for me, it is exactly the same as an individual athlete filling themselves full of drugs. It doesn't guarantee you success, but it gives you an advantage, so it's cheating. That is, for me, financial doping in a nutshell. And the reason why Man City need the book thrown at them, the reason why it needs to deter Newcastle from doing the same, and the reason why, you know, the likes of Chelsea and Man City, you know, they can't ever be anything like that again. So I know I've rattled on a bit, but it's something I'm particularly passionate about, you know, because it happens in the lower leagues as well. I mean, Forest Green, Salford, you know, Wrexham, you know, we're talking about clubs. I mean, Wrexham are a bigger club. You know, they were always going to be someone who should be pushing for promotion from non-league into the Football League, but they've done it with money that has been injected into the football club that nobody else has access to. You know, talking about this underdog story, they had triple the budget of anybody else, you know, at least. And then, you know, like I said, Salford were a nothing football club, and all of a sudden financial injection, and they've just, you know, leapfrogged all these other football clubs, and no one thinks about these football clubs that they're leaving behind. It's like, well, hold on a minute, what gives them a defined right to just have this money and just work their way through the leagues? I mean, thankfully they lost in the playoffs today. And then you can say the same about Forest Green, Dale Vince. You know, what gives them a defined right to just have a financial advantage over everybody else? You know, and I keep going about financial advantage. I know the people are, you know, people who are watching this are going to be picking the holes in it. Yeah, but bigger clubs have a financial advantage over smaller clubs. It's like, well, yeah, they're a bigger club for a reason. You know, past success. You know, like I said, Usain Bolt, like Max Verstappen, and the guy who finishes last every race. You know, are you telling me that, we have got to allow this guy to take the best car now? You know, the best drivers get the best cars in Formula One. The weaker drivers get snapped up by the weaker teams. It's sport, you know. I mean, if you know, you may as well just hand out participation medals for everybody then, and, you know, don't declare winners and then just say, yay, we all had a game of something, and what a bunch of bollocks. You've got to have that competitiveness, and there's always going to be someone who's historically better than somebody else, but you can't just allow them to inject an advantage into them to be able to hit that level with them. If they find it from hard work and good practice, they can find that level. Leicester won the league. They've shown that they can do it. Other clubs can do it. Just don't sell all your players to make a buck. Try and keep them, pay them a little bit more, go for it a bit. Brighton next season, they're going to lose all their players. You know, well, not all of them, but a good chunk of them. Why don't they say, right, we want to push top four that next year. We're capable of doing it, and they are capable of doing it next year if they keep their players and add a few more of quality, because they get their TV money every year. They can spend some of that, and they can go for it. They got the manager, they got the team. They just need to add a bit of extra quality to it. There's no reason why they cannot do it. No reason whatsoever, without having a financial advantage over everybody. So why is it Man City get to get away with it? Why is it that it's okay that Newcastle can go and do it now? And why is it always been okay for Chelsea to be doing it for as long as they've been doing it? It's not. It's an unfair advantage. It's cheating. And anyone who's won on the back of this cheating shouldn't, they shouldn't be able to escape it without having some kind of asterisk against them. But there we go. Oh, there we go. I've rattled on about it. But hopefully I put the message across correctly and people can now understand what the hell I'm on about. So it's up to them. It's up to the people, these individual people, to either accept that by the laws of the game, it's financial doping is cheating. Simple as. It's a matter of fact. It's not a matter of an opinion. I'm not giving an opinion at this particular moment. I am stating a fact. Financial doping is cheating. Simple as. Thanks for watching. Cheerio for now, and as always, up the county.